there's a sickness with her. There's something off with her.
Meghan Markle chose to do the unthinkable on the red carpet.
Meghan Markle has an extreme case of main character syndrome, basically a situation where somebody thinks they are the main player, the protagonist in the story of their lives and the lives of everyone around them.
Meghan Markle took full advantage of it.
David Foster did not need to say a word. One awkward red carpet moment was enough. Meghan Markle was smiling, hovering near the frame, ready for another polished interaction. Foster walked in, focused on his own event, and gave her almost nothing. No huge greeting, no dramatic reunion, barely any visible effort to turn the moment into a Meghan scene.
As long as she sees cameras, as long as people are taking pictures of her, she's going to keep smiling through those dentures no matter what. But you can clearly see that David Foster is seething.
And just like that, the woman who had spent the night looking completely in control suddenly looked like she had no idea what to do with herself. That is what makes this so brutal. Meghan had already been filmed, arriving, laughing with musicians, talking about Harry, dancing inside the gala, posing for cameras and helping arrange people on the carpet. She had content from every angle. Then the actual host appeared, and the clip that stood out was the one moment she could not seem to direct. Because this was not Meghan's gala, it was David Foster's.
When I tell you that this woman loves to burn bridges because she had nothing to lose. She knows she's not coming back because David Foster is not doing these events anymore. This is the 40th year he's done this. Harry and Meghan have made a career of burning bridges.
The event in Victoria, Canada was built around the David Foster Foundation, a cause he has spent decades supporting. Foster was there with Catherine McPhee. Harry and Meghan were guests. On paper, this should have been one of the easiest public appearances imaginable. Arrive, smile, support the cause, take a few pictures, congratulate the hosts, move on. Instead, somehow, the night became another full Meghan production.
Attempting to direct people because, again, this is a film production of her life, guys. So she needs to direct people as to where to stand because apparently a producer who is in his 70s and has been in the entertainment industry for years and years, and her friend who has also been in the entertainment industry for years and years, Catherine McPhee and Meghan Markle went to school together. He apparently doesn't know how to stand on the red carpet at his own event. He needs Meghan Markle to direct him because she's the ultimate director of life.
And the timing made it even more awkward. This was a major milestone for Foster's foundation, tied to roughly 4 decades of gala fundraising and the end of this long-running gala format. The host had every reason to want his own clean photographs, his own moment with McPhee, and his own space on a night carrying his name. But before Foster could even settle into that moment, Meghan and Harry were still right there on the carpet.
This is his last event. This is his last fundraising event. And he wanted to go out with a bang. Harry and Meghan were supposed to have moved and give them space so David Foster and his wife could take center stage and be pictured, filmed together alone. Did Meghan Markle do it? Let's find out. Of course they didn't. And you can see that David Foster is livid.
Before we continue, I want to mention something really quick. Organizing your family's important information is one of those things most of us know we should do, but we keep putting it off. That's exactly why there's the Family Vault. It gives you one place to organize your important documents, insurance, medical information, passwords, and more, so everything is easy to find when it's needed. You'll find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That's all. Now, let's get back to today's story. They had already been photographed. Their arrival had already been documented. Meghan's dress had been seen. Harry had been seen. The couple had their shots. Normally, this is where guests keep moving and the people actually hosting the event step in. Meghan did not seem in a hurry to disappear.
And if she can't have her moment alone on the red carpet, because yes, she asked to be alone on the red carpet, she's gonna screw everybody else's.
She was gesturing, shifting, appearing to help organize where people should stand. Hands moving, bodies repositioning. Meghan seemingly managing the frame as everyone gathered around the photo line at David Foster's event. That is the part that makes the whole thing look ridiculous. Foster has been around cameras and celebrities for decades. McPhee has spent years in entertainment. Neither of them needed Meghan Markle to teach them how to take a red carpet picture. Yet there she was, appearing to direct the scene like she had been hired to run the photo call. Why?
In particular, Meghan, of course, looks at this as, I can get something for the gram. But what Meghan didn't really consider is that she definitely very much has main character syndrome. That Meghan Markle, this is her. So just put into Google, this is what it says. Main character syndrome is an informal pop culture term describing a mindset where an individual views themselves as the protagonists of a movie-like life, treating others as supporting characters and romanticizing everyday events. It is not a clinical mental health diagnosis, but rather a social media phenomenon.
Why does every public appearance need an extra layer of Meghan management? Why can she not simply stand where she is told, smile for the camera, and let somebody else's event belong to somebody else? And this is the difference between being a guest and trying to produce a moment. A guest can walk past musicians without narrating the experience, let the host take his own photographs, and enjoy the room without turning every beat into another clip.
They said that David Foster was talking to Harry about something incredibly serious about some children and some parents who had lost children. And you can see Harry and David Foster, they look serious. They don't look like they're laughing or smiling about anything. Meghan Markle has this idiotic permanent grin, which is creepy. And of course, she saw the camera. And what did she do? She reached out. Why is this woman smiling like an idiot? Does she not understand that that is just not done? She has zero sympathy for anybody.
Meghan kept finding moments that could live beyond the gala itself. And by the time Foster appeared, she had already turned an ordinary arrival into a sequence of scenes. That is why the carpet behavior mattered. One hand gesture means nothing on its own. But after the filmed entrance, the bagpipe comment, the dancing, and the constant camera awareness, the gestures looked like part of a bigger habit. Meghan does not simply enter a frame. She seems to want to shape it. Then Foster approached, and suddenly the energy changed.
He keeps just walking by without saying hello or anything, and Meghan Markle is fidgeting with that dress. It kind of reminds me when Prince William did this. You remember when Prince William was adjusting that scarf because he did not want to engage in conversation with Meghan Markle? So this is why David Foster was so angry.
There was no big visible burst of warmth toward Meghan. No obvious stop and chat moment. No giant hug that could instantly become another flattering clip. Foster appeared focused on getting into position and moving through the carpet. Meghan adjusted herself and her dress. Harry looked stiff. The shiny, confident energy Meghan had projected earlier seemed to vanish in seconds.
David Foster Foundation paid for the expenses, the entire expenses of Harry and Meghan while in Canada. They were flown by private plane. The hotel they stayed at was paid for by the David Foster Foundation. And let me tell you, they don't come cheap because Meghan Markle, as usual, is asking for insane demands.
Maybe Foster was distracted. Maybe he was listening to photographers. Maybe the timing was simply messy. But visually, it was savage. Meghan looked ready to be acknowledged, and Foster looked far more interested in continuing with his own night. That is the backfire. If Meghan had taken her photos and moved along, nobody would have cared. There would have been nothing to replay. But the longer she stayed in the space, the more she gestured, the more she appeared to involve herself in arranging the shot, the more obvious the final contrast became.
Meghan Markle at the event dancing with, and Harry's just sitting there going, can you please stop this now? Can you please stop it? Like, you can feel, again, it's that main character energy that Meghan Markle has, where she's kind of making a fool of herself, bringing attention to herself. And yes, it seems to be maybe there's people definitely on the floor dancing. I don't know why Harry isn't dancing. Like, the whole thing comes across as just a smidge odd. But Meghan Markle, there was an event, obviously, with Tyler Perry and Kerry Washington, where Meghan Markle and Kerry Washington were vibing.
She looked like she was controlling everything until the host walked in and reminded everyone whose event it actually was. And what makes that moment even worse is everything that happened before it. Meghan had arrived completely camera-ready. The styling was polished. The dress came from a Canadian designer she had not publicly worn before, fitting the location perfectly. The entrance looked prepared for photos. Every detail was ready to be clipped, posted, and discussed.
Now, Meghan Markle is attempting to look royal here because she chose a Canadian designer she has not worn before. So again, the rehabilitation of Harry and Meghan and trying to get back into the royal fold is well underway.
There is nothing strange about dressing up for a gala. That is the point of a gala. The problem is what happened around the outfit. The entrance became content. The musicians became content. Harry became content. The dancing became content. The carpet became content. By the end of the night, it felt less like Meghan had attended an event and more like she had collected scenes from it. The first one came with the bagpipers and drummers.
This whole bit here, it's just wild.
This is great.
My husband loves bagpipes. And you gotta wonder, who is this poor soul forced to carry this camera and film her giggling at herself, her horrible hairstyle here, and her dirty diaper toga? Who is in charge of filming this?
As Meghan walked through the musicians, she laughed, reacted to the music, and announced, "My husband loves bagpipes," while Harry was standing right beside her. That tiny line says so much about the dynamic. Harry was there. He could speak, he could react, he could tell the musicians himself that he liked the music. Instead, Meghan narrated the moment for him while the camera followed along.
I'm sure Meghan was incensed that Harry is here taking up space. Now, Harry has a tinge of main character syndrome, but he doesn't have it in the same way that his wife does. So I'm sure him standing there, taking attention away from her and taking the camera's focus away from her, it's probably driving her absolutely batty. And she's probably seeing herself going, "Hey, come here. This is supposed to be about me. This is a video about me. How dare you talk to these guys too?"
For a few seconds, it looked like a lifestyle segment. Meghan in front, Meghan reacting, Meghan explaining what Harry likes. Harry reduced to the husband in the background of a scene built around her response. Then Harry started talking to the musicians on his own, and the attention finally shifted away from her. He faced them. He had his own conversation. He engaged without needing Meghan to translate his personality for the room. But Meghan was still close enough to remain inside the shot.
Meghan looks like she's acting badly.
And
And Harry's no better here because he kind of attempts. And you can almost feel them going like, what the heck is this?
It's pipes and drums, just to be clear. Thank you.
Did somebody say so sexy? Really?
That same pattern kept repeating. When the attention drifted, Meghan was never far from the frame. Later, she was filmed dancing while Harry stayed seated. Other guests were enjoying themselves too, so the dancing itself means nothing. The funny part was the contrast. Meghan was animated, moving, visibly performing the moment. Harry looked perfectly content to stay in his chair. Again, the camera found Meghan doing something. Again, the evening produced another little scene centered on her.
And unfortunately, performances like this are becoming more and more grating on the public day after day. And Meghan Markle would be so much better served to not wear a toga that looks like she has a dirty diaper and instead actually embrace her vain, vapid, and shallowness and not try to wrap it in altruism.
Even at the table, there was a moment where Meghan appeared to repeatedly urge Harry to get up while he remained seated. She spoke toward him, he stayed where he was, and there was no immediate big couple moment. Harry did not jump up just because Meghan seemed to want him moving. For once, he looked more interested in staying put than joining the performance. And that is where this entire gala starts colliding with the image. Meghan and Harry have spent years building around privacy.
Remember when Meghan Markle did that MasterChef thing and Chef Paul told her, you have to scream 30 minutes to warn the chefs who were cooking there? And Meghan said, oh my God, I don't like yelling. I am too much of a duchess. Well, she didn't say too much of a duchess. I'm adding that bit up, but that was implied. She's too much of a lady to shout and scream, right? So she had to walk to each chef and tell them, you have 30 minutes. You have 30 minutes. That was to, of course, maximize camera time on her face while, getting precious minutes from the chefs. Well, if you pay close attention here, you will hear her shouting and screaming.
They have repeatedly presented themselves as people who want control over access, security, and unwanted attention. Yet Meghan's public life now seems to generate a constant stream of highly usable moments. Arrivals are filmed. Trips produce location clues. Scenic images trigger speculation. Events become social media packages. Tiny interactions are captured like scenes from a show. That contradiction is getting harder to miss.
There's a sickness with her. There's something off with her, and we all talk about her like she's this normal person, this reasonable human being. This is a very unwell woman, in my opinion, who is not living in reality, who is unmoored from any common sense, anything going on in real society. She makes absolutely no sense. She's very, very unwell, in my opinion.
Recent travel posts have included recognizable scenery and details that encouraged people online to guess where the family had been. One image led to discussion about their location. Another shot from the Scottish Highlands fueled speculation about whether they had been anywhere near Balmoral. Nobody needed a secret photographer to create those conversations. The images were posted publicly. Once recognizable details are placed online, people are obviously going to examine them. So what is the goal?
Hide, hide, close the blinds. I seek photographers out there. They're coming up to the gate. Like, they love to build this narrative, like we're being hunted, we're being chased. Literally, in my opinion, though I have pretty good reason to believe this, she calls the paparazzi on herself when she goes out in Montecito.
Do you want people to stop watching, or do you want them watching on your terms? Because those are not the same thing. Meghan does not need to be secretly calling photographers for the contradiction to exist. There is no need to turn it into some wild conspiracy. The simpler problem is already right in front of everyone. She keeps creating and publishing material that keeps the attention machine alive.
But I think she needs the paparazzi to feel self-important in a way, and then she can kind of say, oh my God, don't take pictures of me. How dare you? You know, she's going to tip them off, and then she's going to say, I can't believe they're here. Then she's going to build another narrative that they need privacy, and we're under attack, and we're under siege.
And the Foster Gala showed the same behavior in real time. The camera was present. Meghan knew it was present. She reacted for it. She spoke for it. She danced near it. She appeared to arrange people in front of it. Then, when David Foster stepped into the exact space built around his own event, she was still there. There is also a reason the optics around Foster were especially bad. When somebody invites you into a room connected to a cause they have spent decades building, the easiest way to look gracious is to make yourself smaller for a few minutes. Let the host speak. Let the host pose.
People were saying that she was arguing with Harry. Nobody was paying attention to them. They were on the side table. They were not in the middle of they were not in the main table, in the center table. They were on the side. And nobody was paying attention to Meghan Markle. And we know that Meghan Markle can't live without attention. All the cameras need to be on her. And she was arguing with Harry, asking him to get up and sing, to make a scene, and you'll hear her shouting, but you can see them arguing because Harry's just ignoring her. Harry's just ignoring Meghan. Like, get up. Listen to her scream.
Let the foundation own the attention. Meghan had no need to prove she belonged there. Her presence had already been photographed the second she arrived. Staying visible longer did not add prestige. It only created more opportunities for an awkward moment to happen. And that is exactly what happened. The more polished the earlier clips looked, the harsher Foster's cooler interaction appeared by comparison.
Harry knows it, by the way. Harry knows that they screwed up. Harry knows that they were both supposed to move along after they were pictured and they were filmed and they got their little time of glory and their little spotlight. But Meghan Markle held on so long that David Foster and his wife had no choice but to come and be pictured with them. They didn't get their lone time on their red carpet at the very last fundraising event.
If the whole night had been messy and spontaneous, nobody would have noticed. But Meghan had looked so camera-aware everywhere else that the second a reaction did not go her way, it stood out immediately. This is not really about one awkward photograph. It is about control of the frame. Meghan seems most comfortable when she can shape the moment. She can decide what gets posted. She can choose the image. She can pick the caption. She can turn a private-looking scene into a public teaser.
People wonder, how do they get invited? It's that royal title. Even if it means that they're invited to Canada at a B-list event. Allegedly, David Foster did not want to have anything to do with them, but that meeting with King Charles kind of changed things around a little bit because now they don't know whether Harry's actually going back. And Meghan, of course, is latching on to that possibility of going back.
She can make an arrival look casual while still getting a perfectly usable clip from it. But a live red carpet is different. Other people move when they want to move. Hosts walk in when they are ready. Photographers shout directions. The next group steps forward. And if somebody does not stop to give Meghan the reaction she wants, there is no edit button in real time. That is why Foster's body language became the most interesting part of the evening.
If you think about the main character syndrome thing, why is Meghan referring to Harry? My husband! He's right there, honey. He is literally right next to you. Just say, he loves bagpipes. Point to him or something. Or say, Harry loves bagpipes. Or don't even say anything. Why can't you let him say he loves bagpipes if he loves bagpipes? Why are you standing there in a room full of bagpiping men, giggling like a Looney Tunes, and going, my husband likes bagpipes?
He did not need to argue with her. He did not need to embarrass her. He did not need to make any statement. He simply appeared to move through his own event without turning her into the emotional center of the moment. Sometimes that is colder than a confrontation. The entire night should have been comfortable for Meghan. She and Catherine McPhee knew each other through school circles in Los Angeles years ago. Harry and Foster have also been publicly friendly over time.
Harry and Meghan, I think, want to be these huge people in the entertainment industry. And while, yes, they still get invitations to things, I don't think necessarily they're getting the invitations of the caliber that they would prefer. So when Harry and Meghan went here, I'm sure they were like, yes, something to go and do, because the couple are desperately seeking something to do.
This was not some hostile royal room full of officials waiting for Meghan to make a mistake. There were familiar faces, music, cameras, glamour, a charity cause, no palace protocol, no ceremonial minefield, no impossible rules. Just show up and be gracious. Yet the clip still ended with people asking the same question they ask after so many Meghan appearances. Why does she seem to make every room about herself? That should be more worrying than any angry headline.
David Foster was livid. You will see that the body language is brutal. There is no eye contact whatsoever. And Harry, of course, knew that he messed up, that he should have moved along. But did he? No, because he's a coward.
If the setting is friendly, the people are familiar, and the event is easy. But the footage still creates an argument over whether Meghan overstayed her moment, then blaming the room stops working. And there was another little detail that made the whole evening feel even more like a business operation. After Meghan posted Gala content, the As Ever brand account interacted with the post. Her celebrity image and her commercial brand now sit so close together that even a charity appearance can feed the wider Meghan ecosystem. Attend the event, capture the clips, post the clips, brand engages, headlines arrive. Attention circles back to Meghan.
Kind of speaking of main character syndrome, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, yep, As Ever liked Meghan Markle's own post. Meghan Markle liked her own post. Oh man, the cross-referencing with As Ever is just insane, guys. Now, it's starting to get really bad. As Ever is not doing well.
That is not automatically wrong. As Ever is a business. Businesses need attention. Meghan chose a public commercial life. Of course, visibility matters. Of course, she wants people noticing what she wears, where she goes, and what she launches. But that makes the privacy performance harder to sell. You cannot aggressively turn your life into content and then act surprised when people study the content. You cannot post clues and complain that people noticed the clues.
Taken to an extreme, it leads to selfish behavior, unrealistic expectations of how people should treat you, and difficulty forming deep mutual relationships. I think we'll see all this here in Meghan. And that just did remind me is that I heard that there's another Daily Mail article about Meghan Markle bullying people.
You cannot build a brand around your personal image and then pretend public curiosity appeared from nowhere. And you definitely cannot walk into somebody else's milestone event, gather a night full of personal footage, and expect nobody to notice when the host himself does not seem interested in playing along. There is an irony here that Meghan never seems able to escape. The more she tries to control how public moments are packaged, the more damaging the uncontrolled moments become. A perfectly staged entrance creates a standard. A polished post creates a standard. A flattering candid creates a standard.
Because the problem Harry and Meghan have is that Hollywood, I don't think, is calling as much as the couple would like. And they're especially not getting invitations to big events, the Met Gala, any of the big awards shows. Like, they're just not getting sort of, I think, the invitations that they would like. And their star is definitely on the decline in the entertainment industry. Things are just not moving and shaking as they used to be. And the couple, I think, is definitely feeling the stress of that, particularly Meghan, who has, I think, dreamed for years and years of being this billion-dollar mover and shaker in the entertainment industry, and has been kind of shocked to see herself fall from grace so incredibly hard.
Then one clip appears where somebody is not smiling back, not stopping, not performing warmth on command, and suddenly that tiny moment looks 10 times colder than it otherwise would. Foster did not have to reject Meghan for the clip to sting. He only had to look like he had something more important to do. At his own gala, he obviously did. That is why the David Foster clip landed so hard.
There's also a video of Meghan Markle just kind of looking at their little plate thing and not really participating seemingly in this gala, because Harry and Meghan aren't there to actually support the David Foster Foundation. They're there to support the catering brand that is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
Before we continue, one quick thing. One thing I've realized is that most families don't have their important information organized in one place. That's exactly why I recommend the Family Vault, a simple, printable, and fillable organizer where you can keep everything from important documents and insurance to medical information, passwords. You'll find the link in the description, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Now let's get back to today's story. Nothing explosive actually happened. Nobody shouted. Nobody pushed Meghan off the carpet. There was no public feud. There was no official rejection. Foster simply seemed to give her far less emotional attention than the moment around her appeared to expect. And somehow, that was enough. Because Meghan had spent the rest of the evening looking like the person directing the energy. She had the arrival, she had the musicians, she had the line about Harry, she had the dancing.
But you can see that there is no eye contact. There is nothing there. In fact, David Foster was livid. But at the end of the day, Meghan always gets her man or woman. She always manages to get herself invited somewhere, and she will make it all about her.
She had the glamorous outfit, she had the photo line, she had the social media follow-up. Then Foster walked into the frame and the mood belonged to him. Imagine how irritating that must be for somebody who has built an entire post-royal identity around controlling the story. Meghan left the royal system after years of feeling trapped inside an institution where she could not control every headline, photograph, or public role.
Harry and Meghan, as a whole, they're just not having a big success in the entertainment industry right now. And even if it's a lower tier event, they're willing to go because they get their 5 minutes.
In America, she built something completely different. Her projects, her brand, her account, her launches, her interviews, her carefully chosen images. She finally had the ability to produce the Meghan version of Meghan. But the strange thing is that the fight for center stage still seems to follow her into rooms that were never supposed to be hers. At some point, somebody else gets to be the main character. At this gala, that person was David Foster.
Catherine McPhee was one of those Meghan's friends in high school. She was in a lower grade. She wasn't on Meghan Markle's radar until she married David Foster, who has a fortune estimated at $150 million.
It was his foundation, his milestone, his guests, his room, his red carpet. Meghan was invited to support the night, not manage it. And maybe that is why the ending feels so satisfying. Foster did not need to publicly shut her down. He did not need some dramatic confrontation. He just appeared to continue with his own event while Meghan stood beside a moment that no longer revolved around her.
Why they're there at this particular gala? Let's be honest. They're looking for things to do. They're getting kind of desperate for things to do. And they're desperate to look like they're important.
After all the posing, all the smiling, all the camera-ready reactions, and all the little scenes collected throughout the night, the most memorable clip may be the one Meghan could not fully control. She arrived ready to be seen. She made sure there was plenty to see. But when David Foster stepped into his own spotlight, Meghan discovered something very simple. Not every red carpet needs a duchess directing traffic, and not every host is required to stop his night so she can have one more scene.